This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, as we mentioned in the ancient cemetery, the Abarbanel and Rabbi Yehuda Mintz were buried side by side. They were both nifter in the year Chasar, 508, and they passed away 5 days apart from each other. So can you imagine the two greatest luminaries of the time passed away within a week of each other? Now, Rabbi Yehuda Halevi Mintz was Ashkenazi. Mintz means Mainz. He came from Mainz, from Ashkenaz. In fact, he came in about the year 1462. He was the official Rav in Padua for 47 years. Incredibly, in 1508, he was nifter at 103 years old, which is lo yu'uman ki yisupar in the 16th century for someone to live such a long lifespan. One of the all-time great Gerushei Sfarad was the Chassid Yaivitz. Yaivitz, not related to Rabbi Yaakov Emden. Yaivitz here stands for Yitain Eitza Be'ez Tzara. And he wrote a sefer in Mantoba, the year of the Spanish Inquisition. The name of the sefer is Chasdei David. The Chassid Yaivitz's son, who lived in Padua, he writes that he remembers when he was a boy, Rabbi Yehuda Mintz came here, and Rabbi Yehuda Mintz said, Birchas Hachama. How often do you make Birchas Hachama? Once every 28 years. Rabbi Yehuda Mintz was already over 100 years old when he made Birchas Hachama. Rabbi Yehuda Mintz was nifter. They closed all the stores here in Padua for 2 days in deference to him. As we mentioned, Barbanel and him were nifter 5 days apart. One of the most important commentaries ever written on Rashi was Rabbi Yo Mizrahi. Rabbi Yo Mizrahi, the Re'im. Mizrahi writes in his Shalos Tshuva Siman Vav, Dalacha, Hispoinanti harbe bedivrei Mahari Mintz. I contemplated greatly the words of Mahari Mintz. Umatsasi bahem chachma nifla chachmasa gedoyla ma'oid. Al kiyoytze by Nemar, on someone like Rabbi Yehuda Mintz, we could say, Sifsei koyen yishmeru das, the Torah yevakshu mipihu, ki malach Hashem tzavakoisu. Hameir hagadol asher ein koyach be'einayim l'roisai. His light is so powerful. Maybe that's why the sun is shining so strongly here. It's not possible for the human eye to see him, to gaze at him. Im yimtza ish oimetz levavai lehischazei kenegdei lestakobai. If somebody would even attempt to gaze at Rabbi Yehuda Mintz, einav techena meira'ois v'yavsid oiroi v'hadarai. I think this was the strongest the sun has been since we've been here in Italy. L'kavod Rabbi Yehuda Mintz, that the Mizrahi says about him, that anyone who would try to look at him, it's like looking in the sun. Now, one of the great Rabbanim in Padua in the 19th century, Rav Mordechai Shmuel Gerundi, he wrote one of the first works of history about all the Chachamim who lived here in Padua and in Italy. He says about Mahari Mintz that aside from his godless in Torah, he's the Gadol Hadar, he was also a great philosopher. And you may be surprised that there's a very prestigious university here in Padua. Rav Mordechai Shmuel Gerundi says Rabbi Yehuda Mintz was the professor of philosophy here in the University of Padua. Most of the Christians were his student. Now Rabbi Yehuda Mintz was succeeded by his son, Rabbi Avram Mintz. Rabbi Avram Mintz's daughter married Maram Padua and Rameir Katzenellenbogen. After Rabbi Yehuda Mintz died, almost all of his writings were destroyed. His grandson found 16 of his tshuvos, and in the Maram Padua published the tshuvos of Mahari Mintz in a sefer called Seder Gittin V'Chalitza. So Rabbi Yehuda Mintz, he was 103 years old at the time that Abarbanel passed away at 71 here in Padua in the year Chasar. We lost these two great luminaries, Don Yitzchak Abarbanel and Rabbi Yehuda Mintz, Zechusam Yagein Aleinu.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.